HOA Karen demanded to inspect my coop. She got pecked and sued for trespassing. The sun hung high over my modest backyard, bathing the wooden chicken coop I'd built with my own hands in a warm, golden glow. It was my sanctuary, a place where my 6 hens named after my favorite poets clucked contentedly, oblivious to the storm brewing beyond the picket fence. I'd moved to this quiet suburban neighborhood to escape the city's noise, seeking peace and a patch of earth to call my own. But peace, it seemed, was a luxury I couldn't afford. Not with Karen Whitaker, the self-appointed enforcer of the Homeowners Association, living 3 houses down. Karen was a fixture at every HOA meeting, her voice sharp enough to cut glass, her clipboard a weapon of bureaucratic terror. She'd made it her mission to scrutinize every inch of our cul-de-sac for violations of her precious rules. Last month, it was Mr. Thompson's slightly overgrown lawn. The month before, the Patel's gaudy mailbox. Now, her sights were set on me, or rather on my coop. "You can't just build a shack like that without approval," she'd barked 2 days ago, her manicured finger jabbing toward my backyard during an uninvited visit. "It's an eyesore, and I'm certain it violates Code 47B, Section 3. I'm coming back to inspect it, and you'd better have your permits ready." I tried reasoning with her, explaining that the coop was within regulations, built with reclaimed wood and love for my hens Emily, Sylvia, Maya, and the rest. But Karen didn't listen. She never did. Her eyes gleamed with the thrill of control, and I knew she'd be back. That morning, I was feeding the hens when I heard the gate creak. There she was, striding across my lawn like a general marching to war, her phone already out, snapping photos of my coop. "This is unacceptable," she declared, her voice shrill enough to startle Emily into a squawk. "I'm inspecting this now, and I'll have it torn down by tomorrow." "Karen, you're on my property," I said, my heart pounding but my voice steady. "You don't have permission to be here." "Permission?" she scoffed, stepping closer to the coop. "I represent the HOA. I don't need your permission to enforce community standards." That's when it happened. Sylvia, my fiercest hen, took offense to Karen's intrusion. With a flurry of feathers, she lunged, pecking sharply at Karen's ankle. Karen shrieked, stumbling backward, her phone flying into the dirt. "Your monster attacked me," she screamed, clutching her leg as if she'd been mauled. I couldn't help it. I laughed. It was a mistake. Karen's face twisted with rage, and she stormed off, vowing to sue me for everything I had. I thought she was bluffing. She wasn't. The next day, a process server handed me a lawsuit. Karen was claiming emotional distress, physical injury, and absurd property damage for her scuffed designer shoes. The neighborhood buzzed with gossip, and I felt the weight of judgmental eyes every time I stepped outside. My hens, blissfully unaware, kept laying eggs, but I couldn't shake the dread. I'd poured my savings into this house, this life. Could Karen really take it all? Enter Mrs. Delgado, the quiet widow next door who'd always kept to herself. I barely knew her, save for the occasional wave when she watered her roses. But that evening, she knocked on my door, her eyes bright with something I couldn't place. "I saw everything," she said softly, "and I recorded it." She showed me a grainy video on her old phone. Karen barging through my gate, ignoring my protests, and provoking Sylvia's peck. It was clear she was trespassing. Mrs. Delgado, it turned out, had been watching Karen's reign of terror for years, quietly documenting her oversteps. "I've had enough of her bullying," she said. "Use this in court." The trial was a spectacle. Karen played the victim, dabbing at dry eyes with a tissue, claiming my vicious hens had scarred her for life. But when my lawyer presented Mrs. Delgado's video, the courtroom fell silent. The judge's gavel came down hard. Karen's case was dismissed, and she was ordered to pay my legal fees for trespassing and frivolous litigation. I should have felt triumphant, but as I watched Karen leave the courthouse, her shoulders slumped. I felt a pang of something unexpected pity. She'd built her identity on control, on being the neighborhood's gatekeeper, and now she was just a woman who'd lost. I learned later she'd been fighting her own Batliza divorce, A son who wouldn't speak to her. It didn't excuse her, but it made her human. Back home, I sat by the coop, watching Sylvia preen under the fading sun. The hens had no idea they'd sparked a war, or that their quiet clucks had brought a community's tensions to a head. Mrs. Delgado's roses bloomed brighter that week, and I baked her a pie to say thanks. But the victory felt hollow. Karen's lawsuit had exposed the fault lines in our neighborhood petty grudges, unspoken resentments, and the fragile threads holding us together. In the end, it wasn't just about a Coop or a Peck. It was about pride, power, and the cost of refusing to listen. I kept my hens, but I lost the illusion of peace. The neighborhood would never feel quite the same. What do you think? Where does justice lie when pride and community collide?